You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Hey friends, you know we love our jobs, but there's still nothing better than a great weekend. And no one does weekends like Royal Caribbean. The world's biggest weekend has arrived thanks to Royal Caribbean's Utopia of the Seas, sailing from the Orlando area to the Bahamas in 2024. No matter what kind of weekend you're looking for, you can have it on Utopia of the Seas. On board, you can enjoy some R&R with their amazing pool deck that features 5 different pools. You can also relax poolside with a cocktail or head to the boardwalk and catch a game at Playmaker Sports Bar and Arcade. If you're looking for a more thrilling weekend, you can check out Flow Rider, a surf simulator on board. Catch one of their jaw-dropping shows, or you can test your luck at Casino Royale. You'll also be able to enjoy Perfect Day Coco Cay, Royal Caribbean's own private island. You can relax on the beach with a pina colada, or chill at an overwater cabana at Coco Beach Club. Or, if you're looking to keep the adventure going, you can race down the tallest water slide in North America. Get ready to conquer your bucket list and adventure boldly, because Utopia of the Seas has everything you and your crew could want in a weekend. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Visit RoyalCaribbean.com to learn more.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Dad, I've heard you do it a lot.
Try not to
just
bang
throughout
the table.
segments, bang table, and you breathe into the mic. You gotta just be a little conscious of.
Okay.
Try not to breathe as much.
I won't. I'll try not to breathe. Don't worry about it. I'll hold my breath for the rest of the show, except when I'm talking, and then it'll be like a big exhale because I've been holding my breath. No problem, Roy. Don't breathe. Was I wheezing or was I just breathing? Because I do tend to wheeze.
You're alive.
You wheeze and you just kind of breathe loudly into the mic, like that.
Don't do that.
Okay. Well, how about if I
it's a breeze,
if I use my inhaler on the air? How about that sound?
We've already started the segment. We started about 20 seconds ago.
I had no idea.
And Greg Cote has been asked by the producers who regulate sound
By
around
his
here,
son.
and his son, to just be careful about the sounds that he makes at the microphone. And his response was, okay, I'll never breathe again. I will stop breathing.
No. In Greg's defense, Chris said, can you try not to breathe?
As much.
His father is annoying him because his father does not care about the mechanics of doing any of this. His father is actively breathing too heavy into the microphone. The Sueys last week, you don't even know if the sounds. That is you.
Sounded like an ocean wave.
That is you. They just keep playing sound of you during one of the previous segments. You're breathing into the microphone, coughing. That is all the way we're going to introduce the Sueys that are going on this week from last week, and this is Best Revelations.
And now, the Suey nominees for Best Revelation. David Samson reveals his hate for dogs was caused by his parents' divorce.
It is my recollection that my parents got divorced because the dog that we had when I was a child took a crap in the living room, and my dad yelled at my mom and then left her. That was the story that I was always believed is why they got divorced. I had a dog named Spartacus, who was a Labrador retriever, a big dog that I would snuggle with and cuddle with, and the dog was the cause of my parents' divorce. And since then, I have refused to in any way engage with dogs. I was told after, when I got older, I was assured by both my mother and my father that, in fact, the dog crapping in the living room had nothing to do with the divorce. However, I still did not believe it because my recollection, and I was 4, was yelling, screaming, doors slamming, and then that's it.
Tony Kaladiud reveals Mike Ryan's extremely sad lunch.
I know Mike wasn't eating, and there was a time that we all got Mexican, and they brought a whole bunch of trays of like queso and cheese and fajitas and like taco stuff. And then Mike walks in and is like, wow, this is a great spread. Walks over to where the fixins
Your mouth is watering as you describe the cheese from
you
Lime.
You felt that, right? Yeah, I felt it too. So all of a sudden, Mike grabs a bowl, and I'm like, oh, finally, he's going to eat. I haven't seen Mike eat in like 6 weeks.
We were happy he was just going to eat something.
Yes. And then what he does is he picks up a bowl that has a shard of lime in it, and then he squeezes the lime into his mouth. And it's like, that's lunch. Thank you, guys. And he actually went back for seconds and got a second lime and also squeezed it in his mouth and then threw it away. And that was lunch.
You just wanted flavor?
Yeah, I eat limes. I like a tart flavor profile.
Andrew Whitworth reveals when he knew he was done playing.
Here's what happened. I went in the living room. I'm watching NFL on a Sunday. You know, obviously we're on Thursday nights. I'm home for the weekends. And my son Michael's playing defensive end in his little 11-year-old league. I'm like, hey, let's take a couple. He gets off one time, and I literally wasn't in a good position for my son to get off the ball. And I was like, you know what? I can't do it. My knee literally never moved. I was I thought I moved, but my feet never moved. And I was like, you're done. You're absolutely done.
You got beat by your kid.
Michael Lee torched me.
Your 11-year-old might have altered NFL history, depending on the team that you were considering.
There's no doubt. He definitely torched me.
Bert Kreischer reveals that Dan Le Batard was the reason Bert's podcast with Bill Burr ended.
The podcast with Bill Burr. That wasn't really. No, that wasn't. That was you. No, because it didn't. What is that? Why it ended? That can't be why it ended, Bert.
I'm gonna take. I gotta leave.
So you're serious? You invite me on, and we blindside Bill Burr during a barbecue, and he was mad about it, and that's it? It ended a popular podcast?
I thought it would go so much better. He was, you know what's so funny is it was the second to last time I've spoken to Bill.
Oh, no.
Ended a friendship. Oh, my God.
And so I haven't, and so I think it was probably more, I don't know what happened.
Bert, I went in knowing do not provoke Bill Burr, do not provoke a comedian. It will go very poorly for you. I spent the entire interview backpedaling, but he got very angry off the top about the idea that Boston might have some racist tendencies.
He was extremely ornery.
But isn't he always?
It was a side of Bill. I've known Bill for a long time. I've been friends with Bill for probably 20 years, 20 plus years. I'll always be friends with Bill. We have not talked in a while, but I'll always be friends with Bill. I love Bill. I respect him. But man, that was a ornery interview. I think what was happening was he was grilling out with his family and forgot that we had a podcast. and so when he came in and had to miss the grilling, I think that's what's happened. I don't know exactly, but I know that I was in Serbia. I kept cutting out and I'd come back in and hello.
That was Roy walking into the room. I stopped you dead. I don't know why Bert
walked in like Bobby Shmurda in a prison shower.
Brian Scalabrine reveals that he used to beat Jimmy Butler one-on-one back in Chicago.
Me and Jimmy Butler, we used to play one-on-one all the time his rookie year when I was in Chicago. And I would beat him. Take that for data.
What did you tell Jimmy Butler when you were giving him that work his rookie year?
Too little, you're too young. You need to listen to some hard rap because that country music ain't working for you. I go to Derrick Rose and say, D Rose, this dude can't help you. If he can't beat me, he ain't helping you.
David Samson reveals the Marlins would mess with the radar gun for pitchers.
We definitely played with the radar gun.
No, that's not true.
However, the best example of it is that we lowered it for Brad Penny. Because Brad Penny was a pitcher we had, part of the World Series, and what he did in his delivery is he would throw the ball, and on his follow-through, he would be turning around to look at the radar gun. And all he cared about back then, it was 96, 97. That was amazing. Forget the 101, 102. So we would change the radar gun, and he would come off, and he'd be so pissed off. He's like, that was not 93. Brad, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. Just get people out. Stop looking at the radar gun.
Greg Cote reveals how him and his wife started dating.
I'm pretty sure both of my parents had significant others, girlfriend, boyfriends, and when they met each other, they just both needed to leave their significant others for each other.
That is correct.
Wow.
Who cheated the worst? You or mom?
I don't want to get into
one of
that
you was
kind of a
cheating.
detail. No, I don't want to get into
Were you both dating at the time?
Yeah, we were both in serious relationships.
What a
couple of cheaters cutting it up.
A tawdry began with a tawdry affair. Was there deceit at the beginning? Was there betrayal at the beginning on both ends of serious committed relationships?
Possible that happened.
And weren't Dad, you were the big time sports writer at the school, right? Like Mom left hers because it was like, I got a shot with Greg Cote here.
She was she worked on the newspaper in layout.
Yeah, she did.
And we met, and it was love at first sight.
You were the trophy husband? You were the big catch on campus?
Believe it or not, yeah.
Which ex was most upset afterwards? Your ex or Mom's ex?
I think mine. We fell out of a relationship. David Samson reveals the Marlins would hire people to stand in the walk-up ticket lines.
We would hire people to stand online for the photo op on day one.
Wait, what?
Oh, hell yeah. Bring donuts.
You hired extras?
Ringers. Everybody downstairs
You planted
online.
an audience.
Who would ever do that? It's all about how's it going to look.
Greg Cote, swingers cruise revelation.
Can we talk about your cruise? You went on an adults-only cruise, Greg.
Whoa.
A Virgin Voyage.
Have you ever been on one?
Baby.
Started out a Virgin Voyage.
Hey. I have never been on an adult cruise.
Wait,
I've been on a disco cruise.
I was gonna say, Dad, didn't you go on some like? Didn't you go on like some
like that,
70s
Yes,
disco
it was a
that
disco
I took
cruise.
to mean a swingers cruise?
Well,
You went on a swingers cruise?
what are we talking
Wait,
about?
hold on a second. You went on a swingers cruise?
I mean, when the boat is rocking, don't come knocking. Am I right? Come on now. I'm just saying. No, it was a disco cruise.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of
What were your rules?
And you know it. Yeah.
What were your rules?
There are no rules, just
Safe
right.
word?
No.
Wow, Outback.
No, there's no rules. Jeff Passan reveals where he was practicing his fake Elmo.
I tried it at the ballpark, and I'm like, oh, God, this is not going to go well.
Who did you try it on? Who
Like,
did you
what-
try it on? It's
I
a
wanna,
great
like, paint the
question.
picture
It's
of
a
you
great
in the
question.
ballpark doing
You're
your
at the
Elmo.
World
You and
Baseball
Bob Nightingale.
Classic.
This is a true story. You guys have been to the Marlins Park press box,
Yes.
right? You know, like when you're walking in the hallway toward the press box, there are 2 solo bathrooms.
Good acoustics.
I went into the corner of a bathroom and did it
By yourself.
Is this gonna work?
Like insecure Elmo talking in a bathroom mirror,
kind of whispering.
Mike Ryan reveals the one celebrity to reject his cameo request.
It's the first time I've submitted for a cameo and got a phone call from the camp of the person that was denying my request. I requested Dave Wanstatt to do a 90-second promo on why the big game should be considered by the Recording Academy for Best Musical Theater Album.
That would have been funny.
And I had, because of like the weird Mario Cristobal plugged in coaches search contacts that I've made, I got a phone call from someone that was actually with a very confused Dave Wanstatt, who I heard in the background in his very distinguishable accent asking what the heck. He didn't want to embarrass himself, and he thought that we were making a joke of him. And I tried to explain in excruciating detail what I was going for. He still passed at the opportunity.
Mike Shore reveals what Donald Trump got him as a wedding gift.
A good friend of my in-laws at the time was a New York real estate mogul named Donald Trump. He later would go on to be the president of the United States. So we get in the mail, my wife and I, a giant box from the Trumps that said, and we're like, oh my God, this is the wedding gift. Like, this is amazing. What did Donald Trump get us for a wedding gift? And we pull it out, and I'll show it to you. It's this vase.
Wow. But wait, there's more.
I believe it is the ugliest object I've ever seen. It's certainly the ugliest object
expensive,
I own. So we're trying to theorize, and there's no note, there's no piece of paper that says, like, here's what this is or anything. So I'm like, what is the story here? I formulate a theory. The theory that I formulate is that it is overflow decoration from one of his casinos. Like, he bought 5,000 identical $12 vases to go into like the Atlantic City casino. And I was like, right, like imagine you're walking down a hotel corridor in a casino, cheap casino hotel, and there's like stanchions all along the walls, right? And like every 10 feet, there's like a vase like that looks fake fancy, right? Maybe I'll bet that's what this is. And as I'm formulating that theory, I look and I turn it around and look at the back. There's nothing on the back. So clearly it's designed to just face out like this. And he's so cheap that they didn't even, he was like, no, don't paint the back. The back's going to face the wall of the casino.
Izzy Gutierrez reveals he got circumcised his freshman year of college.
The reason I was urinating so poorly is that just about a few days earlier during Christmas break, I had decided to get a circumcision.
Oh.
Whoa. As an 18-year-old.
Whoa.
I was one of those people who grew up Latin kid, uncut, and then I didn't like it so much. And maybe now that I'm circling back, maybe that comes back to my shy bladder thing. And that was one of those situations where it was absolutely embarrassing and frankly painful, but I could not say why.
Peter King, weed revelations.
It came up earlier this week. What animal would you want to get high with?
A panda.
Really? Wow,
That's an excellent answer. Excellent answer.
It's like you had that answer your entire life.
Wouldn't you just love to sort of lay all over a panda?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Peter, we didn't
think
say
about the meaning of life with a panda.
Yeah, but why am I laying on the panda after I get high? I mean,
I appreciate the thoughtful answer.
Well, look, I haven't been high in 100 years, but when I used to, I think it would have been a lot of fun. I did once, though, you guys would be surprised to know. This would have been in 1978 in Athens, Ohio, when I was a senior at Ohio University.
Right.
I once did a doobie with the Doobie Brothers.
No way.
I did.
Awesome.
You guys are blown away. Your mind was blown.
Very nice.
Swingers cruise, huh?
Swingers cruise, please. Kidding me? Why did you even think it was a swingers cruise? It's a disco cruise.
I know. I know what you guys did on there.
Well, I mean,
some necking.
Exactly, necking. I like it. A couple of land sharks in honor of Jimmy. A little necking. It's a better way to do it than that.
We like Miller Lite here, though.
That's true. We do prefer Miller Lite day in, day out. But on a special occasion.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
It's Mike, and at just 96 calories a can, Miller Lite is going to be the only beer you'll want to celebrate football season with all season long. Whether you're at the stadium or playing fantasy football or watching the game at home or at a bar, Miller Lite is here to make your football season taste like Miller time. You know what I like to do? I like to time out the kickoff with the opening of the white can. You get that sound? It's perfect. It's like a chorus from heaven. It is the only light beer with a taste worthy of our national obsession. Because what's the point of having a beer if it doesn't taste like, well, beer? You get the taste you crave without the calories. Make it Miller time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Dan Le Batard.
He needs a wheelbarrow like Mike McDaniel, this dog.
Got a pair?
He's got a pair. Man, does he get a pair. My granddaughter sees his schlong.
What are you talking about?
And says, what's that?
No, she doesn't.
No, she
there
did.
It is.
Your granddaughter.
My granddaughter saw his schlong in the kitchen. And she said, what is that?
What is this, a game of Clue?
And
What's he doing in the kitchen?
I said, that's what he pees with.
She saw his...
Okay.
How else am I going to explain it?
Stugotz.
It was a little extended. I don't know why he was so excited.
All right, very good.
Baby.
No!
Can I take this out?
But it is a baby.
Anyway, he ate my couch.
This is the Dan Le Batard show with the Stugotz.
I don't know what the audience's experience is with Adnan Virk. He is the consummate professional. He is a broadcaster's broadcaster. And I think he is a kind and generally decent man. But don't enrage him. And I don't think people know this side of Adnan Virk. Maybe Chris Cote does. Perhaps Chris Cote, the producer of Cinephile, can tell me that he has seen a rabid Adnan Virk just chew somebody up. I think of Adnan Virk, Stugotz, there are a few people like this in the media. Tim Kirkshin is one of them, just a nice and decent person. Everybody likes him. And Adnan Virk is in that realm, very personable and easy to get along with. But he has gone to Twitter and he has flamed the company. Adnan Virk is enraged. He says, worst customer service experience of my life. Bought this hat, which is $45 plus. I was unaware another $14 for the ridiculous embroidered back logo. I tried to exchange for a hat without the logo and was told no returns or exchanges ever. I'll never shop here again. At Lids. He lit up Lids. He's done with Lids, and I have noticed, Stugotz, this has to be something that has fallen by the wayside. Not that I want to be a guy who longs for back in my day. Greg Cote, do you have a back in my day today?
No, because it's another Suey Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe next week, though. We're thinking about it.
It's a weird Tuesday. It's a Tuesday that feels like a Monday.
Feels like a Monday, Suey week.
We lost Jimmy.
Zagacki, right. Yeah.
So no back in my day.
No. Who spends $50 for a cap? Is that the going price of hats nowadays?
I long for a day
Cap.
when customer service wasn't shitty. This has fallen by the wayside in our technological times. Nobody will pick up a phone because it's all by email, and Amazon's got too much commerce to worry about your shit. You can just keep it if you want. We're churning too much out here. If we get it wrong, we don't care about customer service anymore. Am I longing for a too romantic day when I say that part of the way things function has totally fallen apart? That I can't ever get someone on the phone to help me with anything because nobody answers the phone.
You used to be able to just hit 0.
Nobody goes to work.
Back in my day, you just hit 0 and you got somebody.
I am just calling customer service and it rings and it's the company saying to me, and what? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to stop shopping at Lids? Well, Adnan Virk is here to tell you, yes, he is done. He is publicly outraged. He can't get a manager because customer service won't bring him one. So he is telling you on social media, it's the only recourse of the customer at this point. Shame Lids into oblivion.
He'll shop at Lids again. We've all done that on social media. Like, I swore to myself I'd never fly JetBlue at least 7 times, and every time I'm flying JetBlue.
But
We've all done
not
it.
everyone is you. When we were talking about earlier that Greg Cote plans a fraud as his last funeral act, where the casket will be put into the earth, but he will be ashes watching nearby. I would have suspected that is how Stugotz will go, with an act of fraud at the very end.
I don't think of it as fraud. By the way, I have a boycott going, but I've never put it on social media. It's a private boycott between myself and my conscience. You know, I would not try. This is a mom and pop place. I don't want to trash them.
Yeah, don't do that.
No,
it's manatees in Vero Beach.
Well, they wouldn't give me flat wings. I'm willing to pay extra. I tell the lady, I'll pay customary 10, 15 cents extra for a flat wing. Why can't you give me a flat? What is so complicated about the short order cook being told, okay, he wants all flat, and the short order cook's going, what? I can't do it. I'm a professional chef.
It's more a policy from the restaurant than the cook. You're going after the cook.
Policy of a restaurant. Who's running that restaurant? It's ridiculous. I mean, who's in charge? It's a mom and pop restaurant. I'm trying to order all flat wings.
Right.
You know, what are they? I'm willing to pay extra for them.
He's right.
You know, I mean.
Who doesn't have flats?
Who doesn't have flats?
Right.
And plus, it all evens out.
Oh, my God. $5.
I know. I'm sorry. You got me agitated now because, it's an equal number of people who prefer drumsticks and who prefer flats.
Not true.
That is not true. That is not true at all.
No, Greg is right. Some like flats, some like drumsticks.
He just said there's an equal amount.
Well, he doesn't know that. And some people like both, a mixture.
And dare say most people like drumsticks.
Zagak, if anything, you're doing them a favor, Greg, because by taking out the flats from an order of just drumsticks, you've now created an order of just drumsticks for someone else.
Exactly. They should be paying me extra to get all flat.
What is your beef with drums?
Yeah. You know what? Drums have too much meat on them.
I agree.
What?
Yes.
Very chewy.
When you order wings, you want more bone.
I want more chew.
You don't like that knuckle?
No, I don't. I hate the knuckle. I like to get more crisp. The
knuckle is crisp. That's what the knuckle is.
Another thing I don't like is a large wing. If a menu says jumbo wings, I'm running in the other direction. Like
Need to be tiny. Tiny wings. You're
yeah,
right.
Tiny bubbles and tiny wings is what you want.
Yep.
And I like
Tiny bubbles? Did you just make a Lawrence Welk reference?
Tiny bubbles and tiny wings.
Welky.
You know, and cook them well. Leave them in the Earl another 10, 15 seconds for me. I like a crisp, small, flat wing.
I like a crunch.
Yes.
I'm just confused. Like, how is that a bad thing, having more meat on the bone?
No, more crunch, less meat.
Oh, God.
Do you have a lot of specifications when you go order at a restaurant?
I do. I'm very picky. I'm very particular, but if I get great service,
You're taking care of them.
It's a big tip.
But you're entitled to. You're going to eat. It's your money. You're paying for the food. You should have it your way.
Cook it my way.
Exactly.
Favor me with exemplary service.
Mm-hmm.
You will be repaid in kind.
You're looking at a
12%
tip.
No, that's for bad service.
Now you've gone too far.
I will never stiff the wait staff. If I have the worst service in the world, I will leave 10%.
Oh,
that's stiffing them.
Very bad form.
Well, but they showed bad form before I did.
Said if I get the worst service, I won't stiff them.
I didn't. 10% is not a stiff.
Yes, it is.
It's a tip.
It's a tip.
Define
you
bad
say
service.
stiff. You mean no tip.
It's below average. He's saying if he gets the worst service, he's leaving 10%.
Right.
What do you normally leave?
The starting point is 15 to 18.
Okay.
If I get good service,
not anymore.
It's,
It's now at 22%.
Well, come on.
Right.
I mean,
getting carried away.
Well, when you just said big tip.
They're not chasing the chicken in the back of the restaurant and killing them. All they're doing is throwing something in a deep fryer. Come on. What are you paying for? She's bringing it to the table. She's not even doing all the work.
Might be he, too.
Well, it might be he. Wait staff. Waiters, waitresses.
When did 22% become the thing? That's enormous.
Right.
Like, what are you kidding me?
Ridiculous.
22%.
Yeah, Batard
You just said you big tip if you get good service. You just said you big tip.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
A big tip for me would be 30% plus.
Wow, that's a big tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice of you.
Because it's easy to multiply that. If I spend if I spend $15 on an order of wings and it's good service, I might leave a $4 tip.
33% is a lot easier there because you just do the 5.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Do you like to do the tip where you do the math so that it ends up as an even number for you, or do you like to tip an even number?
It's a very thoughtful question by you, Billy.
Thank you, Greg.
I will round up. I prefer the double zeros.
Right.
For you or for the tip?
For both. It's just neat.
Well, it can't be both.
It can't be both.
Yeah, let's say
what
it's
he's saying is you
1824.
want a round number. It can't be both unless the dollar amount of your order is 0 cents.
I will usually round up to benefit the waiter or waitress.
My dad does a weird thing.
I'm still confused.
He fills. Go ahead.
Well, do you if you're going to give a $6 tip, would you rather give a $6 tip or would you rather your bill be $18 flat?
No, for example, if the bill is $18.66, I will leave a tip that is a number plus 34 cents. In other words, I want to make the total double zeros if I can.
But if the tip's supposed to be like $6.34, okay, are you going down to 6 or up to 7 to make everything even?
Well, I don't normally do that on the tip. I do that with the total in mind. I like to round the totals. I like
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at
I'm with
Batard
you about
Show.
that.
Do flats and drumsticks get eaten in equal amounts? Also put on the poll, when you tip, do you throw in a few extra cents so that it can be zeros on your account?
You have to.
The weirdest thing he does, though, is he fills out both. You know how you get the 2 receipts? You get the merchant copy and the customer copy. He fills out both.
For his own records.
But then he folds it up, puts it in his pocket, and then it just goes in the garbage when he gets home.
It's bookkeeping.
Wait a minute.
When you write things down, you remember them.
Wait a minute.
Right.
There's no-
in the trash. Yeah.
Wait.
No, he's right. Yeah,
No.
He's right and Greg's
no,
right.
it's the book is not being kept there. Chris Cote just told you that what would have been the bookkeeping is being thrown in the garbage.
It's a financial ramification.
Your memory book.
It's
exactly.
bookkeeping.
Yeah.
You put a receipt on the junk pile in the kitchen, and then you winnow through that every month or so.
Do you
winnow
though?
through that.
Do you?
Every month or
somebody,
so.
my wife does.
Yeah, someone
you
does.
do not.
No,
you do
I
not.
don't.
Look,
I don't do it.
I
No.
can
Hey,
imagine.
you
This
kidding
is what I can imagine. Erlene Cote has a just total ramshackle group of receipts for like a third of your purchases.
Bookkeep.
Right.
And then my guess is that you are terrible at this and don't record in any way in your mind or elsewhere what it is that you tipped, what it is, unless the service was bad and it's damn manatees, and he'll burn you right to hell.
All right, look at here.
That was a private thing.
When I walk out of a restaurant, I want proof of how much I just spent. That way, if it comes out,
What happened at Manatees?
Just look at your credit card bill
I
online.
know, but here's the point: if it comes out on a credit card bill, that I spent $45, and in fact, I have a receipt here that says I spent $35.
Exactly.
But you're not even
I have the
checking
proof.
online, though. You're not even doing
No,
that.
I don't pay my bills. Your mother does. God bless her. I don't know how to pay a bill. How do you do that? I just found out a week ago what Zelle was. Zelle.
Dangerous game.
What is it?
Yeah, give me cash. I don't know.
Chris, Stugotz just found $20,000 in his Zelle because he didn't know there was an extra step. Chris,
My Venmo.
how much trouble is Stugotz in because he's not going to be able to get the ticket on YouTube on Sunday? How much trouble is he in because he's going to try and scramble morning of and he doesn't know how to do anything?
He's going to try to get it for free. Isn't that your move? You call every time, you wait on hold, you try to get it for free?
It was my move with DirecTV. I'm not certain. I don't know who to call it YouTube. I asked my daughter to fix it up for me.
Well,
Someone's not gonna answer.
You can't threaten to cancel YouTube also, so it's not
Right.
going to work out for
Your
you.
YouTube subscription, you could.
He doesn't know where to subscribe, how to subscribe. Like, I think 1 o'clock's going to come on Sunday, and Stugotz isn't going to know how to get his football.
Luckily, they play on Monday night, the Jets. I mean, a few extra days to figure it out.
Well, that's on ESPN.
Oh, yes!
You could just do that the way you've always done it.
So great. Stugotz here for my friends over at Simply Safe. Well, it's official. Fall is here. If you're like me, you're settling back into busier routines. I'll have a lot of traveling again this year for my daughter's lacrosse games. Northwestern going to go back to back. Let's do it. But that's why I recommend Simply Safe Home Security and their revolutionary home monitoring innovation, 24/7 live guard protection. It's designed to help stop crime in real time. Now, if an intruder breaks into your home, Simply Safe professional monitoring agents can actually see, speak to, and deter them through Simply Safe's new Smart Alarm wireless indoor camera, warning them that the police are on their way. How about that? I'll scare the hell out of them. The new Smart Alarm indoor camera is also the only indoor security camera that can trigger the alarm and instantly deter intruders with a built-in siren. I've had it in my home for years now. Swear by it. Love it. For a limited time, get 20% off your new system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Visit simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Don Le Batard.
Do you realize that for 30 minutes, now we might not have been doing good show, but we were doing show for about 30 minutes, and then you just decided to tell the story as if we were in the eating area.
Stugotz.
So many refer to it as a kitchen.
Right.
Eating area.
Commissary.
Who calls it an eating area?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Right.
An eating area. What's the bedroom? The sleeping area? Let's hang on. I got to go to the urinating area. I'll be right back. Eating area.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I am truly fascinated, Stugotz, about how our viewing habits are about to change regarding sports as the streaming services fight each other for competition and sports dollars. And eventually, it's going to become such a menu that you're going to get frustrated that some of the things that you're used to seeing, you can't see because they've been put somewhere that you weren't expecting them to be put, and you're not paying for it. I've told you that ESPN's greatest trick as Disney's biggest moneymaker for so long is they had 120 million subscribers and 119.5 million of them weren't watching my show. You had a lot of people paying for something they weren't using. Even if it was Monday Night Football, you still had 110 million people paying for ESPN but not watching the product. And now, finally, Charter Spectrum has said, no, sports fans, you're not going to get what you're expecting on college football, the U.S. Open, and people will get pissed off. And I don't understand the fight, but David Samson does. I've told you before, Nothing Personal is a podcast where he covers sports business better than anyone I've seen covering sports business, talking about it in a media space and other things that others don't generally talk about in sports. And I was hoping he could illuminate some of what's happening because Disney's in a bit of a crisis. ESPN used to be its biggest thing, and now they seem to be wanting to get rid of it. David, explain this headache to me, because sports fans really got pissed off that they couldn't get what they were expecting to get. And was it a third of their subscribers?
No, it was about 15 million. But keep in mind, you can still get what you want. You just have to get it from a different place. You're not able to get it on cable the way that Spectrum subscribers were able to get it. But let's get right down to what the fight is. The fight is, you gave us the first part, which is people don't want to pay for what they're not engaged with. And that was the greatest trick, which is everybody was paying, whether you liked it or not. And so this reality is something that both the cable companies and the networks were aware was coming. The question is this the carriage dispute that will mark the beginning of the end of cable and of the way that we watch sports? There have been carriage disputes that have gone on for years and years and years. And what a dispute means is that ESPN wants the cable company to pay them X dollars for every one of their subscribers. The cable company can't pass along that expense to its customers any longer, so they want to pay the network fewer dollars. The problem is ESPN counted on every one of those dollars when it bought the live rights to all of the sports they show, and they're contractually obligated to pay those dollars to the leagues, which then pay them to the players. So something's got to give. And when you go all the way down the stream, what's going to give is revenue that leagues have, and that's passed on to players. Players' salaries could definitely be impacted by this.
David, what do you think the answer is to your own question?
Oh, the answer is simple, is that we are in a time now where we will pay for what we want. The question is now to learn how much we will pay for what we want. So it's very easy to be angry on Twitter that you can't watch ESPN on your cable network. But are you willing to not just call Spectrum, that they don't care when you call them, are you willing to cancel all of your cable because you're so angry that you can't get ESPN? And the answer historically has been no. If that turns to a yes, then that will implicate and indicate that no longer will ESPN be able to charge anywhere near what it has been charging as all of its contracts come up for new negotiation.
Where does this end up, and how resolute is Charter Spectrum about sitting this out?
So everybody's resolute in the beginning when you're in a dispute. Everyone says they're going to stand their ground and they're not going to move. But then all of a sudden, where are the pain points? And ESPN viewed it as a very significant pain point when college football was starting. But I'm not sure that is the pain point. Here's what I think happens. We will start paying for what we want, and we're going to get used to it. We're going to be okay with it. But it will lead to an even faster path toward consolidation of the streaming services and of all the different channels, if you will, who owns what. And that is something the government's going to get involved with because there's going to be some antitrust implications as well.
Who do you assume will buy ESPN, and what is ESPN going to cost by itself going forward in a couple of years?
So ESPN, the rumor is and the thought is that Disney is trying to get quote-unquote investors into ESPN. And the purpose for that was to pay down some of the debt of Disney as Disney tries to get its stock price up because it's being dragged by all of the debt that it has as a company. So if you can monetize some limited partner shares in ESPN, that would be great. But when Bob Iger is approached by a company, let's say Apple, who's willing to buy the entire network, that's something that not only will they consider, but I believe they will actually do. And the timing for this is not ideal for ESPN or for Disney because this could have a quashing impact on the actual enterprise value of ESPN, which they are assuming, Disney is assuming, will bring in $30 to $40 billion to help them offset some of their debt. And I don't know that even Apple would spend that amount on ESPN, given where ESPN Plus is and where the general number of subscribers are of ESPN, which is plummeting.
What do you find most interesting about everything Disney and ESPN related?
I find it most interesting that rights fees continue to do nothing but go up, and that Adam Silver and the NBA is assuming that they're going to keep getting this gravy train to continue, but eventually all runs come to an end. Just like with regional sports networks, teams actually believed that our rights fees would skyrocket year after year. We were buying networks, trying to get equity, and then overnight it disappeared. And I believe that that's the same path we're on.
What are the questions not being asked that you're asking on Nothing Personal about this?
One of my big things on Nothing Personal is how agents and the unions are dealing with this because they're so interested in tying revenue to payroll, and that's what you do when you have a salary cap and a salary floor. But no one's ever thought to ask what happens when industry revenue goes down, because in sports leagues, it's always only gone up. But a huge part of revenue for these leagues is the national broadcast deal. And in 10 years, when the NFL is up, or in a couple of years when NBA is up, MLB in 7 or 8 years, what will actually happen if the rights fees stay the same or even go down?
I read that, and I was stunned by this. I know that John Skipper, the CEO of Meadowlark, raked the ACC when he was at ESPN. The ACC has a horrific television deal. But I read the other day that when the ACC adds teams, ESPN just has to pay $24 million for each of the teams that moves over there, even though the conference alignment is all screwed up. Your belief is, how different will our viewing habits be in 3 years?
Well, 3 years ago, how focused were you on streaming, and how focused were you on your YouTube and on your video when you were contemplating what your business would be at Meadowlark? Everybody has made a bet, other than Fox, that streaming is the way to go, except no one's made money. All the streaming services, save Netflix, have lost money hand over fist, but it's basically been funded by all of the original silos of money, which are subscription-based. So I believe that it is going to be a total subscription model based on only paying for what you want, and the cream and the best will rise to the top and continue to prosper, like your show and only a few others. But you're going to see a lot of things disappear, because the truth is they never had an audience to begin with.
Basketball rights are not going to be the place where this stops, right? The TV rights, Silver's going to get what he wants.
This round, I believe he will. This will really come to a head if it would ever impact the NFL, because people view the NFL as the shadow in the room that is always going to have increased value, because that's what everybody's watching. And it's proven to be the case. But what happens if that changes? That will then impact all the sports downstream of the NFL.
You are of the belief, do I have this wrong? I don't want to overstate this on your behalf, but you are of the belief that a reckoning is right on the cusp of happening. If the TV rights, the Dodgers can pay what they pay because they've got this amazing regional television contract. These made-for-television events that are 162 times a year are very valuable. You're of the belief that we're approaching an Armageddon in how long, that suggests that sports teams might not be as valuable as they seem to be because the TV rights have to go down.
Armageddon, I wouldn't say. Adjustment, I would. And 3 years to me is nothing, because it's way too fast. But I'd say certainly in the next decade, how everyone is engaged with your show or my show or sports leagues or live sports, it's all going to change. 1 decade.
And how soon are we going to get more of what fans felt this week, where they're pissed off because they just can't get their sports?
They're not. So that is something that is being promulgated all over. There are still ways to get ESPN for those who have cable, but you're blacked out. There are different platforms where it is available that you have access to. What they don't like doing is paying their full cable bill and then having to pay for other services on top of that. But we all do that. We have Max, and we have Hulu, and then we've got YouTube. So there's all different things that we're doing. But eventually the customer and the consumer's adding up what they're doing and saying, wow, we may be paying more than we did when we just had cable.
Nothing Personal is the podcast. Thank you, David. We'll talk to you later.